So I'm going to cover a couple things about control horns, and it has to do with actually drilling the holes. It's easier than you think to get a hole within a thousandth of an inch. This is a magnetic base. You can get these inexpensive. They're not that much. Don't go for the Mitutoyo or Brown & Sharp. Just get a Chinese brand. It's all you need for a hobby. Taiwan or whatever. This is just a cheap dial gauge. Got this many years ago. It's Chinese. So what I've done here is I've set up this cross slide vise. This is probably a Harbor Freight vise. I can't remember where I bought it, but it's got the cross slides on it, you know, where you can dial it in 2 axes. This gauge is set up to do your x-axis, and of course if you're a machinist, this up and down, that'd be your Z. So the way I set this vise up to get this 1/4 inch tab centered, these are the 1/4 inch tabs. These were cut off of a strip. You can get these strips 36 inches long. MasterCar MFC Industrial Supply, 16 by 1/4. And since it's a 1/4 inch wide, I set the vise up with a 1/4 inch drill bit. So I just dialed this vise in on the y-axis until this drill bit, you know, lined up with the gap. And it squeezed a little bit tighter than a 1/4, but once you can set it up with music wire or drill rod, just get it pretty close to center within a few thousandths. And then all you have to do is drill a hole at the end. And I've already got this preloaded, and I'll show you. Don't worry about this gauge right now. What you want to do is come over here and you want to slide this back and forth in the x-axis, which would be left and right, and you want to get it right on, sort of on the edge. You want maybe a 1/16 on the bottom. You want to be able to sand or radius that a little bit. I use 3-in-1, works out good. You can use, you know, cutting fluid if you want, but like I said, this isn't anything precision here, but it's going to get within a few thousandths, believe it or not. So I'm going to drill a hole right here, 1/8 inch, because that's what I want my hole to be in the control horn. I have an 1/8 inch wire. So I like to take a little peck, you know, make sure it looks like it's centered. Put a drop of oil on it there. So okay, I've got an 1/8 inch hole drilled. Now what I need to do is set this gauge to 0. So I'm going to rotate this bezel here. I'm going to put that on 0. So that tells me this hole I drilled is at 0. So I'm going to move this cross slide back away from the dial gauge, and I'm going to count off each revolution. Each revolution is 100 thousandths. I'm going to go 8 revolutions. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There's 800 thousandths. Now, according to this gauge, I mean, it's right on the money. So it should be right there within a thousandth, which it just goes to show you how precise you can be and how easy it is. If you've got a punch, or you've got all these other different methods and you're trying to measure with a ruler, you're always guessing. With this, it's right to the thousand. And it's easy. 8 revolutions on the 0, you're good to go. Another drop of oil. There we go. We got 800 thousandths. Now, if you want to check it, there's a simple way of doing it. The machinist showed me this. So here's a way to tell the distance between 2 holes on center, as long as each hole is the same diameter. So these holes, 125 thousandths, 126 right in there. So anyway, they're 1/8 of an inch. It's hard to tell, you know, if I'm on the burr or not, but anyway, 1/8 of an inch. So let's just take 125 thousandths and let's 0 it. Okay. Then you go outside to outside. Let's see how close to 800 thousandths we got. 799 thousandths. We're off a 1/2 thousandths. And that could be the burr. $799 thousandths. So this method I got over here, I can pretty much assure that I'm good within 1 thousandths, plus or minus 1 thou. And this is just a cheap dial caliper. And hardware store, I think it's around 30-35 bucks. So it goes from inches to fractions to millimeters. And that's nice. I mean, if you do something, let's say you're let's say it's 6.3 millimeters. That's 250 thousandths. 1/4 inch. So it's a way of translating back and forth different measurements. And this little thing up here at the top actually tightens it. So if you get a measure and you want to hold it, you just turn this knob, keeps it from sliding. So there you go, within 1 thousandths of an inch with just little hobby tools. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is the actual loading of the material. So I take a magnet and I lay it on top of the vise, and then I open the vise up. So that allows me to pull the tab out without it falling. And likewise, if you need to load a tab into the vise, I just take the magnet, put the little tab on there. I always wipe the vise with paper towel. I like working with paper towel versus rags. If something happens where it gets caught in the machine, it tears away, you don't have to worry about it getting drug into the machine. So what I'm going to do here, probably, I'm going to go back the other way, 800 thousandths. So I'm going to line this tab up to where it looks about right. Tighten the vise up. Not over tighten it, but you know, give it a little snug. And then I feel for it, make sure it's level. So when you set this thing up, drill press, you want to make sure this is 90 degrees to your drill, you know, in all directions. So at least for this type of work. And same thing here, you just move the dial put it back on 0. I like to use these little jobber drill bits. They're short drill bits and they're really sharp. Okay, now we need to count back 8 revolutions. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 8. And if you overshoot it, just turn the crank back. You know, you can move it back and forth. The neat thing about this method is you don't have to worry about backlash. I mean, you can just keep cranking it until you get what you want. And then it's, you know, you're good to go. And these tabs are cut just a little oversized. You'll see this. I need to probably sand a little radius off of that. Drop of oil, ready to go. This drill press is probably 1950s vintage. I don't know, you can tell it's a rackety old thing. It just goes to show you how precise you can get with old stuff and cheap. Now let's say you wanted 750 thousandths, you know, it doesn't matter. You can pull out any dimension you want. You know, 7 revolutions and 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, or 51, 52, whatever. Another thing I'm going to cover, I don't know if it'll be on this video, but the geometry of these flap horns sometimes have a forward leaning arm or backward, you know. I'm going to cover how to actually make a flap horn out of 2 of these tabs that are exactly the way you want it. So you're going to be able to set the angle from the plans or whatever you predetermine that the angle needs to be, and then also where the hole is at. And instead of getting a custom horn and trying to figure something out, all these dimensions with a big wide horn, I'm just going to use 2 of these tabs. And they'll be brazed like that. And I'll just set the right angle. I'll have it all bent up, and I'll go through the whole process how to get a flap horn, any geometry you want. So that's what I wanted to cover in this video. I just wanted to cover drilling these holes. How easy it is to set this up.